Discovering Hidden Bonds, a tale of family and forgiveness. Welcome to Life Tells Stories, where each episode takes you on an emotional journey through the most intriguing and surprising tales of real people. In today's story, we uncover an extraordinary encounter that takes a billionaire from an act of kindness to a shocking family revelation. How far can the past reach into your present? What secrets could lie hidden in the shadows of our families, waiting to change everything we thought we knew? Stay tuned as we unravel this emotional and surprising tale of lost family, the power of forgiveness, and the pursuit of belonging. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Life Tells Stories and like this video if you enjoy heartwarming narratives filled with twists and inspiration. Meet Jonathan Blake, a self-made millionaire known for his investments in real estate and technology. Jonathan had worked tirelessly, not relying on his father's wealth, but building a path of his own. Though successful, he often felt the burden of unspoken family expectations. One fateful day, Jonathan was dining alone at his favorite upscale restaurant, Bella's Bistro. As he enjoyed his meal, an unexpected commotion drew his attention. A waitress named Lily stumbled, dropping an expensive imported plate. The owner, Douglas, a man known for his harsh demeanor, erupted into anger. Seeing Lily shrinking under Douglas's aggressive outburst, Jonathan was reminded of how many people are pushed around by those in power. Something within him stirred, compelling him to step up. He stood, approached the scene, and calmly paid for the broken plate, diffusing the tension with just a few words. Lily was clearly overwhelmed, her eyes wide with disbelief. Jonathan offered her a smile, reassuring her before he left. He didn't realize then how this small act of kindness would change his life forever. A few days later, Jonathan visited his father's grave, a place he went to seek solace when life felt overwhelming. The relationship with his late father, Henry Blake, had always been complex. Jonathan was trying to reconcile the lingering emotions tied to expectations, success, and distant memories. As he approached the gravestone, something caught his eye. A young woman, the same waitress, Lily, was kneeling by his father's grave, laying down a bouquet of fresh flowers. The scene struck him. Why was she here? Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, there was an undeniable flicker of recognition. Jonathan couldn't help but ask, "Did you know my father?" Lily hesitated, avoiding his gaze, then mentioned working at a nearby flower shop that tended to graves in the cemetery. Though her answer seemed plausible, her hesitation and the unease in her voice sparked Jonathan's curiosity. Something didn't add up. The next time Jonathan found himself at Bella's Bistro, the image of Lily at his father's grave wouldn't leave his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her than met the eye. The young waiter serving him that day offered some unexpected insight. He mentioned how Jonathan's earlier intervention for Lily had meant a lot to the staff. "She's been working 2 jobs, the waiter said. "She's saving up to study landscape design without going into debt." 2 jobs. Jonathan remembered what Lily had said at the cemetery, that she worked at a flower shop. How could she possibly have time for that with 2 other jobs? A deep sense of unease settled over him. He realized he needed answers. He decided it was time to find out who Lily really was and what, if anything, connected her to his father. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Jonathan asked his trusted friend and business partner, Noah Harrison, to help him discreetly look into Lily's background. Noah, a man adept at research and gathering information, came back soon with a report. Lily Collins, 24 years old, had indeed been working 2 jobs. The coffee shop where she worked was owned by her mother, Anna Collins, and that name, Anna Collins, struck a familiar chord for Jonathan, a vague but undeniable echo from his past. Not one to shy away from difficult confrontations, Jonathan decided to pay a visit to the small coffee shop, Collins Brew. He walked in, taking in the cozy atmosphere, far removed from his typical corporate surroundings. And then he saw her, Anna, the owner. Her eyes met his, and for a moment there was something between recognition and disbelief. Jonathan felt his heart skip a beat. Anna looked at Jonathan, a slight frown crossing her face. When she finally recognized who he was, her face turned pale. "Jonathan Blake," she whispered, the disbelief clear in her voice. Jonathan responded, "You worked for my family when I was a kid. I remember you." Anna nodded, acknowledging the truth. She had indeed worked as a housekeeper for the Blake family many years ago. But before Jonathan could ask anything more, Lily entered the room, calling out to her mother. When she saw Jonathan, her face fell. "Mr. Blake, what are you doing here?" she stammered. The tension between mother and daughter was almost palpable, and Jonathan could see that both of them were hiding something. He decided not to press them there, but knew he had to dig deeper. Back home, Jonathan thought long and hard about his next steps. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to come together, but there were still missing elements. He remembered the arguments between his parents when he was younger, and one name that had often surfaced: Anna. Determined to get some clarity, Jonathan visited his mother. As they sat in her tastefully decorated living room, he asked her directly about Anna Collins. His mother's face turned somber, and Jonathan saw the hesitation in her eyes. After a long silence, she finally admitted, "Yes, your father had an affair with Anna. I found out when you were a teenager, and it almost destroyed us. Anna left soon after that, and I never heard from her again." Jonathan swallowed hard, the weight of this revelation sinking in. He asked whether Anna could have been pregnant when she left, but his mother only shook her head. She didn't know, and his father had never mentioned a child. Jonathan knew he had to confront Anna and Lily once more. He returned to Collins Brew, this time not willing to leave without answers. He approached Anna and Lily, his demeanor calm but with an unyielding resolve. "I know about the affair," he said directly, "and I need to know the truth. Is Lily my father's daughter?" The air seemed to freeze around them. Anna looked at Lily, her eyes filled with sorrow, and then nodded. "Yes," she said quietly, tears filling her eyes. "Lily is your father's daughter. I left to protect her, to keep her away from the complexities of your father's life. He never knew about her." Jonathan stood there, processing the words. He looked at Lily, seeing her not as a stranger, but as his sister. The realization was overwhelming. Everything he knew about himself, his identity as an only child, was suddenly different, almost as if it had been a lie. The days that followed were challenging for Jonathan. He felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, confusion, sadness, but also an undeniable urge to reach out. Lily was his sister. He could not ignore that. One day, Jonathan returned to the cemetery. He found Lily kneeling by their father's grave, her eyes wet with tears. As he approached, she looked up, startled. "Do you want me to leave?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "No," Jonathan said gently. "You have as much right to be here as I do." Lily blinked, visibly surprised by his words. "I've always wished I could have known him," she said, her voice breaking. "But now, I just hope you can accept me." Jonathan's throat tightened. He stepped closer, his heart aching at the raw vulnerability in her eyes. "I think he would have loved you," he said softly, "and I think I will too, if you let me." Lily's tears began to flow freely, and she nodded. Jonathan pulled her into a hug, feeling the beginning of something he never knew he needed: a bond with his sister. If you've ever experienced a story that left you rethinking everything about family and relationships, please share it in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Months passed, and the relationship between Jonathan and Lily began to grow. It was not without its challenges. Both had so much to process, but they were determined to make it work. They spent time together, sharing memories of their father, learning about each other, and creating a bond that was real and unbreakable. Jonathan invited Lily to dinners, family gatherings, and even introduced her to his circle of friends. They weren't just acknowledging each other. They were learning how to be siblings, creating a sense of belonging that neither had ever fully known. Jonathan even helped Lily enroll in a landscape design program she had always dreamed of. He wanted her to succeed, to follow her passions without the burden of financial strain. One day, as they sat together at Bella's Bistro, Jonathan looked over at Lily, now Lily Blake. The tension that had once filled their relationship was gone, replaced by a sense of ease and love. "So," Jonathan teased, nudging her playfully, "do you think you'll work for Blake Holdings someday? We could use a talented landscape designer." Lily laughed, rolling her eyes. "Only if you're ready to take orders from your little sister," she replied with a grin. Jonathan chuckled. "Oh, I'm ready," he said. And with that, they shared a smile, a promise of a future they could build together as the family they were always meant to be. Life is full of unexpected twists, and sometimes those twists can change everything we know about who we are. Jonathan's journey from an act of kindness to discovering a hidden sister was a story of resilience, forgiveness, and the unbreakable bonds that define family. It shows us that family isn't always defined by what we know. It's defined by what we are willing to accept, the love we are willing to give, and the courage we have to move forward. Thank you for joining us today on Life Tells Stories. If this tale moved you, inspired you, or gave you a different perspective on family, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that touch the soul. Leave a comment below if you've ever had a family secret change your life. We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep sharing the love, keep seeking the truth, and remember, life always has more stories to tell. See you soon.